Welcome everybody of CESO Global. I'm delighted you have all joined us for today's CESO webinar, and we've been joined by we've been joined by one of Nigeria's preeminent property developers, who are Poulton Morgan. Today we'll be discussing the theme of Nigeria's economy and how real estate can act as a catalyst for growth. So how can real estate act as a catalyst for economic growth? This is clearly a very interesting topic at such a time with a confluence of macro and microeconomic factors that are hitting not just countries like Nigeria or West Africa, but globally. As an overview of today's hour, let me give everyone a brief breakdown. I'm delighted to be joined today by the Poulton Morgan panelists, who are Mr. Hakeem Bakari, who is General Manager of Property Mart, Mr. Oladepo Akinsiku, who is Sales Director of Grenadine Homes, and Mr. Oladimeji Olatunji Adu, who is Director of Business Development and Commercial Services. And I will provide a much more in-depth introduction in due course to these very prestigious individuals at Poulton Morgan. I'll then provide an overview of CESO, what we do at CESO, and then a brief overview of the Nigerian economy, so we can really set the scene in terms of addressing this problem. Once I've done that, it should take about 10 minutes. You'll hear me talking for about 10 minutes. We'll then open it up to our wonderful Poulton Morgan panel for more introductions, and then a discussion around this topic. And we'll also be featuring some Poulton Morgan's fantastic properties. And then towards the end of the session, we'll be holding a Q&A with our fantastic attendees. So we thank all of the attendees for also being taking part in this webinar. So I hope that suits everybody. So without any further ado, let's get cracking. As an overview, once again, my name's Philip Jarman. I'm a CESO co-founder and COO. Before co-founding CESO Global, I worked in finance for UBS Wealth Management, where I helped generate investment strategies for ultra high net worth African-based clients. So I've been working in Africa since about 2008. I co-founded CESO with Daniel Block, my business partner, back in August 2017. So we've been representing properties in Nigeria, selling properties in West Africa, and Africa as a whole over the past 5 years now. And that 5 years has really been very, very interesting. So just a little bit more about, let me just take the presentation to the top, a little bit more about CESO. I wanted to highlight our logo because it also seems important to us as a company, us as a prop tech company working within emerging markets. And that this logo here represents core themes that we're really passionate about achieving at CESO in terms of the sales process. So it's trust, transparency, and technology. That's what the 3 lines represent. We believe that by unlocking trust and transparency through our technology, we can improve the transaction process for buyers. We can essentially achieve the requisite level of trust for buyers wanting to buy properties in this part of the world. And obviously, all properties are unlocked through using a key, and that's the symbol in the within the circle there. So what is it that we do at CESO? Part of our business is as a digital real estate broker. So on the CESO marketplace, we sell properties. So you can come onto the property and buy and search for a property you like. But we also sell access to property related services. So as a buyer, you can come onto the CESO marketplace and search for that property you like. But you can also access the other services you need to buy that property with trust. So the services that you can also access are, for example, law firms to do the necessary due diligence. You can hire facilities management companies. You can also access finance through one of our partner banks. We're obviously delighted that we're featuring Poulton Morgan's properties at the moment. They are superb. So what we've created is a one-stop shop for property transactions through our unique ecosystem of services, and that's all connected together digitally. So please come in and see what we have to offer. Now, before we have a look at the Nigerian economy, I want to remind all of our all of our attendees. Once again, thank you so much for attending. That CESO would be delighted to be hosting, along with Poulton Morgan, an event, a property event, over the weekend of September 24th and 25th. So this is Poulton Morgan's UK property show. They'll be visiting London. We're delighted to be helping them with this. The event will be taking place at the Doubletree by Hilton, London in Victoria, on both the Saturday and the Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So just to remind everyone, Poulton Morgan, with over 500 in construction. So please join us for this London event where we'll be unveiling Nigeria's best investment opportunities. The event is free, but you do have to register. Please do so on Eventbrite, and all of the attendees will be sending you a link so that you can register. But please come and join us. CESO will be there, Poulton Morgan will be there, and we can talk about their wonderful properties. Refreshments, obviously, it's totally free over the weekend of the 24th and 25th of September, and no doubt I'll be reminding everybody to do this a little bit later on in the webinar. Okay, so let's crack on and have a look at what's going on currently in Nigeria. After all, we're discussing how real estate can be a catalyst for growth, in Nigeria, in any economy really, but obviously with a specific focus on Nigeria. So as in most economies, the real estate sector is often a reflection of the performance of the overall economy. And typically we've seen real estate performing much better when economies are doing well and dropping during periods of recession. So what does the Nigerian economy currently look like? Now, current inflation figures in Nigeria, I believe, are at a 17-year high. It's 19.64%. If anyone's going to take anything away from this presentation, it is the inflation figure. That the inflation figure is not unique to Nigeria. In UK, it was announced that it's currently today at 9.9%, which is slightly less than what they were expecting. That is still at a 40-year high. So currently inflation is the big macroeconomic issue that all central banks and governments are currently grappling with. In Nigeria, why is inflation so high? There are three major themes that I've identified that we can obviously talk about. Escalating insecurity that has been happening obviously in the north of the country, possibly in the middle as well. We have heard rumors around Lagos State, but that's certainly one of the things that's fueling insecurity. Surge in diesel price, that's also obviously pushing up prices. Those prices are passed on. People on the ground in Nigeria, our colleagues at Poulton Morgan can obviously talk a little bit about that. And the big macro issue is global supply chain disruption by Russia-Ukrainian war. This is the real big macro issue that is affecting all major economies at the moment. I just thought I'd mention Naira rates against sterling and USD. Currently, dollar Naira rate is 700. Back in March 2020, this is at the cusp of COVID. It was 360. Sterling Naira rate currently around 380. March 2020, it was 550. What this obviously means is there's more buying power, but prices and prices obviously are going to be passed on. So you're not going to be taking advantage of this, but there clearly is opportunity if you're dealing with major currency. In terms of real estate, I wanted to bring everyone's attention to the fact that the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics show that even though the real estate contribution has been relatively stable over the past couple of years, the growth rate is still low. So a little economics lesson here. Nominal value of a sector is measured in terms of money invested in that sector. Real value is the one that's adjusted for inflation. So although the sector is beginning to bounce back in nominal terms, real growth, and this is largely due to that high inflation figure, will be returning to that inflation rate. In terms of performance, Nigerian real estate and construction sector, in nominal terms, the sector has seen growth over the period, but once again, the impact has been because of this inflation figure and somewhat eroded. This slide here clearly demonstrates that there is good news. Economic growth has accelerated, driven by growth in the non-oil sector. So Nigerian economy grew in June. This compares with 3.1 in the first quarter. It's worth noting that that Q2 was the 7th consecutive quarterly expansion and was driven by a 4.8% improvement in the non-oil sector, which makes up a vast majority of the economy. But this does compare with a 6.1% increase the year earlier. Does it imply a slowdown? Certainly, let's take the good news, 7th consecutive quarterly growth. In terms of where we are with Nigerian GDP, obviously on the right, here are your major macroeconomic talking points. You've clearly got the inflationary figure. Interestingly, the oil sector shrunk by 12%, with oil production declining to $143 million a barrel, compared with 149 million barrels in Q1. This is actually put down to theft. But without doubt, it's once again that inflation figure that's hindering growth, while rising inflation caused growth to slow to about 5% in the same period last year. Now, what are central banks doing to combat inflation? The Central Bank of Nigeria, like other central banks, is hiking its benchmark rate. Last did it in May by 25 basis points to 14%. This is obviously to try and discourage lending, take it out of the system, reduce the amount of liquidity in the system. Once again, it's that inflation rate. Monetary Policy Committee is expected to meet on September 27th. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here in terms of trying to increase borrowing, but prevent borrowing. But at the moment, it's going in one direction. Now, just returning to the topic that we are discussing today in terms of how can real estate be a catalyst for growth. Clearly, real estate, as with other sectors, performs better when economies are doing well. We are not currently in one of those periods, so the short term may not look as dynamic as we want it to be. What I would say is, I've showed you just some figures: 3.5% growth last quarter, 7th consecutive quarterly growth. The other indicator is the emergence of technology through PropTech, or property technology, which is really driving phenomenal growth. The potential for it to drive growth is significant. So, like other conventional industries, real estate has not altered much in the past couple of years, but the emergence of PropTech companies such as Sesso is a sign that we believe things are beginning to evolve. So what technology can do is it can reduce the friction that it costs to purchase, certainly market and purchase. So at Sesso, we're very proud to be partnering with Poulton Morgan as a tech solution that's allowing buyers to access properties that they want to buy for and hold for years, not just as a quick transaction moneymaker. So that's an overview of the Nigerian economy. Absolutely delighted to now address some of our panelists. But before that, let me do a bit more of an introduction. I'd now like to formally introduce our esteemed colleagues at Poulton Morgan. First of all, Mr. Oludemeji Olatunji Adu. He's a business and asset development manager at Poulton Morgan Holdings. So, introduction: a strategic business leader who has worked extensively over the course of his career on multiple real estate development projects across Lagos, encompassing construction, project management, real estate, marketing, and sales. Prior to joining Grenadine Homes, he was at the Address Home Limited and FBN Mortgages Limited. So delighted that you've joined us. We also have Hakeem Bakari. Hakeem is General Manager at Property Mart. Hakeem has worked on the sales and marketing side of Property Mart Real Estate Limited since February 2009. He started as a sales officer and then progressed to becoming a regional director at Grenadines Homes Limited. Hakeem is currently specializing in business development, execution, and the coordination of 2 subsidiaries. So, sir, many thanks for joining. And last but no means not least, we have Mr. Olademeji Akinsiku, who is sales director at Grenadines. A salesperson who has held a number of positions in the course of his career, including senior sales executive at Property Mart and sales manager of Grenadine Homes. He currently holds the position of sales director at Grenadine Homes, subsidiary of Bolton Morgan Holdings. So that's our introduction. Everybody, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can have things off through sort of macroeconomic overview of the Nigerian economy. And I'd really like to open that question up to the panel. So, Mr. Hakeem, if I could start with you, what's your outlook on the Nigerian economy, both in terms of short term and long term?
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. The Nigerian economy has been a unique economy that seems to defy many economic theorists propounded by economists over the years. There are times economists would say, oh, the economy of Nigeria is going to collapse, everything is going to end. But you would see that the Nigerian economy seems to be waxing stronger. And you'll be wondering that's what's going on, what's driving it. You understand? And for me, I would start by saying that the Nigerian economy has always been a gloom and boom kind of economy. There are times that things will be slow. You understand? There will be a time that things would boom. You understand? And for me, it's only wise for people to take positions at times where things looks gloomy. You understand? Like what we have right now. Because if you look at the real estate business, if you check, people are will be, when things are gloomy, people want to get rid of their portfolios, try to liquidate it so that they can have some purchasing power or spending power. You understand? And that helps savvy investors to take advantage at that time, because at least by the time the boom comes, when people have more purchasing power, then you will be able to make some profit. Then another thing about the Nigerian economy that I see is that it's a pre-election year.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
When we are about to have elections like that, Nigeria being a very peculiar country, there is this fear, you understand? And that has also contributed to the gloomy economy, you understand? So for me, once the elections are over, the boom will come again. You understand? And I can say vividly that this is the time for people to take position. Then I also want to chip this in before I let my other co-panelists speak. The real estate sector has shown that it's a sector to really look out for, because if you look at some stats that you even shown, I've also read, the Nigerian economy even contributed a higher percentage than even the financial and insurance sectors. So for me, those are indicators that the Nigerian economy has a direct relation, the boost or growth of the Nigerian economy has a direct link with the non-oil sector, and the real estate sector seems to be one of those non-oil sectors that has been contributing steadily. So I think on that note, I would say that the economy of Nigeria might look gloomy now, but in a few months to come, there will be a boom. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Really fascinating comments about the upcoming election, which I'm hearing a lot of noise about in terms of that coming boom. So many thanks for that. Mr. Oladepo, can I pass the baton over to you? So what's your outlook for Nigerian economy, the short, medium term?
Okay, hi, thank you, Philip. I think Hakeem did a lot of justice in respect trying to describe the economy. And of course, from your presentation, you're able to highlight some of the indices that we should look out for in respect to the challenges the economy is facing and how to surmount it over time. Of course, in recent time, there have been a lot of, I'm going to take it from an angle of trying to explain some of the challenges in respect to unemployment, which has deepened poverty. And over time, this has consequence over time in respect to reaction, of course, political tension, just like you mentioned, due to the upcoming election, a lot of religious terrorism, amongst other things. However, just like Akim mentioned, the economy is quite resilient over time, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm just going to be trying to make some comments in respect to the fact that within the last 2 years, Africa has produced about 8 unicorns, and out of these 8 unicorns, 6 are from Nigeria. Within January and April this year, they've been able to raise almost about $700 million investments. These are supposed to be declared transactions, not to talk of transactions are not declared. What this means is that there are opportunities there. I'm talking of in terms of areas of fintech. This shows that there are opportunities, and it's always a good time, just like Akim mentioned, to actually key in when there are rough patches, when people are a little bit skeptical. For the savvy investors that want to take advantage of this time, they can be rest assured that they'll be reaping the dividends of taking such risks at this point in time. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, really interesting. It ties into the point around technology being able to potentially reduce those frictions around transactions, which maybe we can talk about a little bit later on. But you're totally right in terms of Nigeria being that hub of Africa's technological innovation. And as I mentioned earlier on, we've really seen an emergence of prop tech or property technology in this space that can help our attendees hopefully purchase those properties with the required levels of trust and access that they need. And finally, in terms of outlook on the Nigerian economy, Mr. Olademeji, could you also provide us with your thoughts? And sir, you're currently on mute, I believe. So would you mind just removing the mute?
Very much for the opportunity to be here about Nigerian economic situation. Nigeria is the most populated country in Africa and actually the biggest economy.
Okay, so I think we're having some bandwidth issues with Demeji.
Sorry?
I think we're having some slight bandwidth issues. So we're having issues with connectivity and listening to your insights.
Okay. Then we're using the same internet connection. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, it's a little bit better. Let's give it a go.
Okay, 5% year on in the last June, to 3.1 in the first quarter. In fact, the non-sector of the economy than the oil sector particularly. Real estate has contributed about 4.8 to the expansion or growth of the Nigerian economy in the last quarter. And this speaks to the economy is very dynamic, that can actually contribute to growth and also impact on the steady growth of the economy. So real estate is one of the major contributing factor or sector to the growth of the Nigerian economy as we speak in the current time. Despite the inflation, the insecurity challenges, people are still buying real estate, and a lot of remittances coming to Nigerian economic space is essentially either for real estate purchases or for family support and others. So it's an economy that one should look out for, and it's also an economy, especially for people in diaspora, to invest in. That would be my initial comment at this stage.
Yeah, sir, thank you very much. Absolutely. I mean, obviously, one of the things that we're interested in at CESO is is opportunities that we can provide within the real estate space for our diaspora buyers. And I dare say that a lot of our attendees here today are from that diaspora market. So with that in mind, Mr. Hakeem, if I could bring it back to you, we've spoken about the dynamics of the Nigerian economy, some of the obvious headwinds that we have. Mr. Oladapo spoke about obviously unemployment. You spoke about the upcoming election as being a potential period of boom. How can property buyers currently take advantage of the current economic situation in terms of things like capital appreciation, etc.?
Okay. For me, I'll start by addressing, or let me say, pointing to the Nigerians in diaspora. They have an advantage right now because the naira is very weak against other foreign currencies now. So if a little unit of the foreign currency, you get a bigger value. You understand? And
Exactly.
Most developers now, because of the gloomy nature of the economy, or the gloomy state of the economy right now, a handful of developers, including ourselves, have even made adjustments in terms of margins. You understand, that we want to make so that you can remain competitive in the market. So the prices, the property prices are not what they ought to be. You understand? Because you can't afford to price yourself out of the market. You understand? Which is in favor.
Oh, apologies.
Are you with me?
Yeah. Sorry. You were saying?
Yes. So as I was saying, that it's in favor of that kind of situation whereby the foreign people who live abroad are bringing in foreign funds and they get higher value because of the weakness of the naira. Then developers generally, the property market we're shrinking our profits. What we should get as profits, we're adjusting it so that we can remain competitive in the markets, which gives an advantage to the investors. For example, the value of a property ought to be, let's say, 100 million on a normal day. You understand? But because of the way the economy is, most property developers say, okay, let's reduce what we can reduce off this price. So instead of 100 million, let's offer it at, I would say, 10% discount. You understand? So it means an investor can get it for like 90 million naira. You understand? And by the time the economy picks up again, the value, it goes back to its actual value of, say, 100 million, 110, 120. So within a short period of time, you would have been able to make a good whatever. So for me, if you have any access to foreign whatever, this is the time to bring it into Nigeria, because you higher this in terms of value of for your money.
So it definitely is a buyer's market, as you say. Mr. Oladapo, could I pass that over to you as well? Same question. So how can buyers currently take advantage of where we are in the economic cycle?
Thank you, Philip. Once again, I think Hakeem shared quite a few information with respect to that. I'm just going to be adding that in real estate, you can never go wrong. There's a lot of investors who are skeptical at the moment in respect to trying to looking at the opportunity and, of course, some of the happenings within the economy. However, this is an opportunity for people to actually take advantage of some of the discounted offerings that developers will be offering, especially if you're looking at the off-plan sales. Provided you're dealing with a credible company who has integrity, who has track record, if you lock in projects at off-plan, you can be rest assured that over time, as the construction progresses, you earn your capital appreciation. And of course, due to the fact that there's also inflation, if you look at the buyer's market, just like Philip mentioned, even for rental income, if you have a property at the moment who is actually out for rent on rentals, because there's inflation, you have the capacity, or you have the opportunity to actually also increase your rents. So over time, that means there's an edge for you over time. So in respect to this, generally, I think is a good sign to actually come in, take advantage of the fact that you have large funds with respect to the exchange rates and lock in at the best possible price. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, look, we're all property people. We all like the fact that there's double upside with real estate in terms of capital appreciation, but also that headline inflation figure could be hedged by rental income. Absolutely. And Sir, Mr. Oladimeji, let me finally turn to you on this question. We've had some really interesting points. Could you give us your thoughts on how property buyers can take advantage of the current economic cycle?
All right, thank you. One of the things that many developers are doing at this present time is low entry investment, as against the usual practice before, where the minimum initial deposit is requested is usually around 20–30%. This has been reduced now to attract investor, whereby the entry point or the initial deposit sum in some cases has been reduced to as low as 10, and while in some cases is fixed at a certain amount of money. There are other things that property developers have done to attract for people to take advantage of is the flexible payment options, whereby payment plan is introduced on a longer term, 2 years, in some cases 5 years, as in some cases. Then there is also high resale value. So apart from capital appreciation that accrued, then the chances of when you resell your property, even though you probably have not finished paying, the resale value is increased, so to say. So all these are advantages that people can enjoy at this point to come into the Nigerian real estate space.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, those insights. Yeah, so there's also that deposit pricing flexibility that again leads itself to that whole conversation about it being a buyer's market. But one of the things that Hakeem, I believe you alluded to at the beginning, was that the current economic situation does favor those larger, more respected developers who maybe have a little bit more liquidity. It would be great to talk about and tell our attendees about Poulton Morgan, a little bit more about Poulton Morgan and what you've done in the real estate sector, about your previous developments, your reputation, and then we can talk about obviously what you're currently doing.
Okay, thank you, Phillips. Poulton Morgan Holdings have been around for close to 15 years or more, and we've been in the industry coming up with different innovative real estate investment solutions. We started way back, as far back as this, during the economic meltdown of 2008. At that time, when the whole world experienced a meltdown, and we were able to help Nigerians diversify their investments from shares, bonds, and stuff that had gone down the drain at that period. And we took off from there, from selling plots of land of 475,000, allowing people pay for about 24 months. You understand? And we grew from there. When we were in that sector, we sold close to 10,000 plots. Wow. Then we sold about 10,000 plots. And from there, because of the success of those schemes then, we enjoyed some kind of followership. So people moved with us to other projects that we did afterwards. From there, we ventured into development of houses. And we did some developments in Magodo GRA, one of the upscale communities in Lagos, where you have at least some of the cream de la creams of Nigeria. They stay in Magodo GRA, and we delivered a handful of projects there. From there, we moved also to do a larger development called the City View. And at City View, we were able to marry or create a perfect blend of contemporary architecture with state-of-the-art amenities. You understand? And at City View, we were able to, the project is sitting on about 80 hectares of land. And as we speak, we have more than
Oh, I think we have a little bit of a drop off there. Depo, are you able to pick things up just in terms of explaining a bit more of the lineage and the history of you guys of Polton Morgan?
Yeah, so I'll just take it from where Akim stopped.
Thank you,
Hoping I
sir.
come back. Just like he said, CTV has over 80 hectares, and I know that we have over 200 families because the estate was sectionalized into different. We developed apartments and terraces, houses, and we also did site and service. So some people bought into the plots of land and developed individual houses to specific tastes. And of course, from there, we moved to the highbrow of Lagos. That's the likes of Ikoyi, Lekki. Okay, I think Akim is back. So I'll allow Akim continue from where I stopped. Akim, so I just rounded up about CTV, and I was going to be talking about what we have been able to do on the island. You can go ahead from there.
All right, so we moved from the mainland into the island market, and what we took there, we tested the waters with a project around the Lekki Ajah corridor, and from there we were able to come up with an iconic development that we intended to use to change the skyline of Lagos and also create an icon of the nation. And the project was tagged Atlantic Resorts at the beginning, but we later changed the name to the Oceana. The Oceana is meant to be an ecosystem that has everything one needs to live, work, and play with ease. So the Oceana is a waterfront development with provisions for offices, for retail spaces, for a 5-star hotel, and we also have provision for a boutique hotel as well. So it's a very unique development that we came up with, partnering with world-class architects like HOK. HOK architects are the ones who designed the LaGuardia Airport in New York, and we worked with their UK office, and we felt an iconic design like that, done by a world-class architect, needs or requires the best hands in terms of civil construction to bring it to a reality. So we settled for Kappa and Dalbato to handle the civil construction. And I'm proud to say that Kappa has been able to finish the superstructure of the first tower. And as we speak, the finishing materials are also being assembled. And by all things being equal, by this time next year, we should have one of the towers standing tall in the sky. And I will also commence, because it's meant to have about 2 towers. One is a 5-star hotel called the Oceana Indigo, while the one that Kappa has built right now is called the Oceana Cerulean, housing the office spaces, the boutique hotel, and some residential apartments. So from there, we went from the Oceana. We've been able to come up with other iconic projects, which some of them will be mentioned by my colleagues. But from there we have been going into different development that tends to change the narrative about how real estate is being done, and we've been able to help people maximize and multiply their wealth through real estate over time. As I mentioned in my opening remark, I mentioned that we have been able to enjoy followership. People who start with us from when we're selling cheap plots of land in Ogun State way back have been following us, and some of them too, as they grow in social status and economic status and spending power, they have been moving with us everywhere we go. Even some of them have also keyed into our Ikoyi and Victoria Island projects. You understand? So we've been around, and we have our laurels to show for that. And as we speak, in Property Mart, we have a new baby called The Meadows. The Meadows is a site and service development but it's first of its kind because we are trying to build a resort in the new Lagos. When we say the new Lagos, we're talking about a place, a location that still has the propensity to quadruple its value in the next, say, 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
Everybody knows Ibejuleki is the new Lagos because that is where the new deep sea port is located.
Absolutely,
that's where the new Lagos International Airport is located. And we have the Dangote petrochemical plants already operational there. And we have the Dangote refinery also, and some other institutions coming up. Now, any location where you have all of these public facilities in place, it means something massive. It means something big is coming up there. And as we speak, all of these amenities, they have workers, because that location will be attracting nothing less than close to 200,000 workers. Now, all of these people currently live in either on the mainland side of Lagos or the island side of Lagos. Now, by the time these facilities are operational, people will be looking at a place that is very conducive, a place that is where you have clean air to breathe in. You understand? So they'll be looking for a place that is very close to where they are used to. For example, the person who is going to be the MD of the petrochemical plant might currently be living in Ikoyi. You understand? And when the plant is fully operational, it can be commuting all the time. So it means it needs a place very close to that looks or gives him the same kind of feel as what he gets in Ikoyi. So the Meadows is being positioned, is being developed to cater to the needs of those class of people. So at the Meadows, you have greenery, you have all the complementary amenities that one would think of. And as my senior colleague mentioned earlier, we got Zodiac to do the master plan. It's not as if we don't have Nigerian companies to handle such things, but we just felt we will be attracting people who are used to everything that works, an environment, a community that works. You understand? So we felt we should bring that international touch home. Nobody's going to build Nigeria for us. We have to build Nigeria ourselves. So whatever people travel out to get, we're trying to create it at the Meadows. So for us, anybody right now can key into the scheme. You can buy residential plots, you can buy commercial plots, and you can also buy institutional plots. So you can either be a buyer-user kind of thing, whereby you can build your country, or let me say your getaway home there, such that instead of you traveling abroad to the Maldives or whatever, you can come to the Meadows. And I also need to mention that the Meadows has the Atlantic Ocean just about 200 meters away from it, or 300 meters away. Though the property is not directly by the ocean, but just across the road, you have the ocean. So you would enjoy all that breeze and nearness to nature that you enjoy when you're at the beach at the Meadows. I think I'll stop at that point now.
That was a wonderfully comprehensive answer. Thank you very much for that. And what I was taking away was, the subject may be on real estate as being a driver for economic growth, but certainly one of the things that Poulter Morgan and yourself has done is partner with a lot of your buyers since the very beginning and develop that level of trust with them and encourage them to invest in different projects that you've been involved with over the years. So essentially, helping them through a wealth creation stage, which is everyone really wants to be a part of. Before we actually go and have a look at a couple of your developments specifically, which I'd very much like you to do, if any of the attendees would like to ask any questions, please tap them out in the chat we have on the webinar session, and we would be delighted to pose those questions, to our panelists. Now, one of the things I would like to do, and Depo, I would like to come back to you if I may, is we've had a fantastic rundown of your historical projects, but it would be good to focus on a couple of the ones that you are, that you're currently focused on as a company. So if I may, I'm just going to reshare my screen again, so we can sort of have a little bit more of a look and get a bit more of a feel of what it is that you guys, are doing. Admittedly, this is one picture. We can't. There's not too much detail here, but it would be great if you give us a bit of an overview, particularly of this particular property. Now, I'm sure some of our attendees would like to know questions like a build timeline, pricing points. If you could help us understand that a little bit more, that would be fantastic. So can I pass over to you, Dapo?
Yes, you can. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for the opportunity to actually speak about one of our very unique projects. This is, as you can see in the images, quite beautiful, 2 twin towers. But before I talk about the project itself, I would like to emphasize on the location. The good thing about the project is that it's located around the Lekki corridor. Some people call it the Lekki Rights. So of course, it's sharing the border with the Oniru and also Victoria Island itself. What we're developing there are 2 twin towers, contemporary design of 2 twin towers of different apartment types. The good thing is the first 3 floors is designed for car parking and can accommodate over 350 cars. And the third, from the 3rd floor to the 12th floor, accommodate different apartment types from studio apartments to 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment, 3-bedroom maisonettes, 3-bedroom penthouses, amongst others. And for the project itself, what we have also done with this project is to be able to look at functionality, lifestyle, and of course, proximity to different locations. For example, because of where it's located, you probably be doing about 2 to 3 minutes drive to Lekki Phase 1, about another 4 to 5 minutes drive to Victoria Island because of the location, and about 7 minutes drive to Ikoyi. That means that it's quite centralized for those of us that have an idea of what Lagos look like. And it's also about 500 meters away from the Atlantic Ocean. So you probably also be enjoying a fresh breeze, a walk away from the Atlantic Ocean. So close proximity to quite beautiful beaches around, from the Lekki Leisure to the Oniru, to the Landmark Beach, amongst other things. So let's go properly into the project. For the project, I mentioned that it has various apartment types. I think, and I'll also be able to cover the fact that, of course, car parks are provided. The 3rd floor, which is the podium floor, has the amenities floor. I mentioned something about the fact that it's a lifestyle, so it comes with restaurants, the gym, the kids' play area, the centralized swimming pool. So what it means is that over time within your apartment, you don't necessarily have to step out of the project to enjoy some of these facilities. Just walk down from your apartment or a phone call away to the restaurant to order some of the nice delicacies you might be looking at getting. Now, before I round up, I would also like to emphasize that one of the advantages of this particular project is the fact that in Lagos in recent time, people are diversifying from staying in hotels to shortlets and shortlet apartment because of course, there's a lot of privacy. Of course, if you look at the hotels, it's quite open. And after the events of COVID-19, people prefer to actually have their private time in the apartment and also enjoy some of the facilities the hotel services will be offering. I'm going to just give a brief explanation on this. In respect to fact that in recent time, for projects within this axis, for example, an average rental income or payment per night in respect to offerings of a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment is usually between 85 to about 120,000, depending on the floor size. And for this one, so if you look at this projection, let's be conservative and use about 100,000 per night. And if you are able to get an occupancy rate of about 50% within a year, that's I'm saying that within the whole of 365 days, you get an occupancy rate, which is being very conservative. That's about 180,000. That's 180 days out of 365 days. You are looking at about 18 million naira over time. And because it's a fully serviced apartment, of course, some funds will be going into services, and you're able to take almost about maybe 15 to about 20% out of that. Let's look at between 3 to 4 million. What will be coming to you over time, you are looking at between 13 to about 14 million. And if you look at this, based on how much the property is being sold, you probably be having a payback time of between 7 to about 10 years. I think I'll just stop here so that at least I'll be able to accommodate questions when time arises. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. That's a really, really great overview of that particular project. Now, I know that Polton Morgan have got a number of interesting projects on the go. So I'd now like to turn to the Meadows project. Hakeem, could I ask for your insights here? Give us a run through of things like, timeline, price points, completion time. That would be really, really valuable for our attendees.
Okay. At the Meadows, right now, the master plan is completed and the detailing is ongoing, and we have started works on the sites. We are backfilling some parts and all of that. Right now, we intend to start full construction at the peak of the dry season. You understand, to mark out the roads, put the drainages, work on the perimeter fencing. The whole place, as we speak, as big as it is, about 79 hectares of land, we have cleared.
Wow.
We have cleared the land as we speak. It's free from any form of encumbrances. Now, as you have seen the picture you're seeing here, you can see that it has loads of grains. And we intend to start, once we start the marking out of the roads and walkways, we'll start planting our trees from now, such that by the time we are ready in another, say, 30 to 36 months, the greens would have all be grown. You understand? So right now, that's how we have planned it. So all the preliminary works for physical construction are ongoing right now. The necessary consultants on MEP and other things are working assiduously, such that once the rains subside, we move into site, and we intend to deliver in the next 30 to 36 months. Now, when I say 30 to 36 months, doesn't mean that's when we'll finish the whole thing. We have broken the project into phases. So the first phase, we are looking at another, say, 12 to 15 months for it to be ready for habitation, where you would have everything that is required to live within that first phase. Then we'll go into the other phase, such that the estate will not remain a construction yard for a long time. So that's why we have broken it into phases and clusters. Now, for the residential plots, right now we have them from about 21.8 million naira for a 500 square meters plot in the residential sector zone, and we have 1,000 square meters minimum for the commercial plots. And so there we are selling per square meter there. So you can get more than 1,000 square meter. And we have specific plot sizes for specific kind of commercial ventures that will be located there. So we have that. Then we have the institutional. The institutional side that's where we would have schools, hospitals, and other institutional activities. So we have the prices also per square meter there, and because there you would require bigger spaces to run a school. You can't buy a 1,000 square meter to build a school. So there we have been able to specify the plot sizes, and as we speak, Mr. Dimeji mentioned that we would have a kind of building guideline or a kind of development control unit, such that people won't build haphazardly. The development there at the Meadows, here at the Meadows, will be controlled such that it becomes that community everybody would be proud of. So when you're buying your 500 square meters, you know, okay, this is the kind of building you can have there. If you want to build blocks of flats, there are specific plot sizes and specifications you need to follow. You understand? So that's just to ensure that we have houses of the same height, you understand, in the particular segment of the estate. So for largely, the Meadows is a resort everyone would be happy they keyed into, and because of the lifestyle that we have created around it, basically.
Okay, fantastic. So we have a question from Mrs. Badebo, and she's saying, what are you doing to protect landowners at, say, the Meadows from the Atlantic Ocean? So this is obviously on that south side of Lekki. Is there any threat there on the construction side?
There's nothing to worry about because of nearness to the Atlantic Ocean. As I mentioned, we are some 300 or about 500 meters away from the Atlantic Ocean, and as we speak, there are people who are even by the ocean itself. So in that whole section, there's no case of we've never had any case of ocean short in that area. As I mentioned earlier, that the Dangote refinery is just down the road, and all of the activities, they've done all their empirical distance to know if that place is susceptible to any natural disaster. And I'm proud to let you know that that area is free from any form of natural disaster. Apart from that, we are also building in alignment with the road levels, the government road level. So our estates will drain properly. You understand?
Right, yes.
If anything comes up, we have engineers and other technical people who have designed a world-class drainage network, such that if there's any need for anything, the estate will drain with ease. So there won't be any case of flooding at the Meadows.
Okay, fantastic. Now I know that there is another development that we want to talk about, and this is the Banana Island development, which is here. So could I bring in Mr. Demeji to talk about that? Give us a bit of an overview, price point, construction timeline, etc. That would be really insightful. Thank you.
Right. Thank you once again. The L5 Banana is one of the flagship projects of Patmorgan Holdings in Banana. It's located on the mixed development side of Banana. It's sitting on about 4,000 square meters of land, has topology ranging from 2-bedroom, 4-bedroom apartment, 4-bedroom maisonette, and a pen floor. The average size of each unit is from about 136 square meters and up to 1,057 square meters for the pen floor. The project is overlooking the lagoon and is about 14-floor development, and a particular floor, which is the floor 7, is designated as more or less like a concert floor, which will house private library, private function room, meeting room, specifically for the resident within the development. It also has amenities ranging from a pool, virtual golf course, a gym, and sit-out area overlooking the lagoon. So one of the key features, or one of the key important elements of the project, is we brought the best architect in Nigerian space together to work on this project. The facade was done by Play in Architecture, while the detailing was done by ICAD as well. And this is to give flex and flexibility to homeowners. The different angles you see around the building is the generous terraces and garden that is available to each topology of the building, and each of them is on the average of about 20 square meters. So apart from the design, apart from the functionality, is one of its kind presently in Banana. The Banana is one of the most prestigious locations in Nigeria, as you
Absolutely.
know. And it also houses one of among the richest Nigerians that you can ever think of. And is within a close 403. And yeah, I think that is it basically about the project.
Fantastic. And sir, staying with you, could you just briefly talk about what are the major differences between the three developments? Who, in terms of individuals that you're specifically attracting, what are the individual developments? Who are they catering for?
Okay, let me start with L5 banana. If you look at the price tag of about 500 million for a 2-bedroom apartment, I think we should be looking at the upper class of the population, people that are, I wouldn't say super rich, but rich that can afford to put out such amount of money on a 2-bedroom flat.
And this is the one in Banana, sorry.
That's the one in Banana. If you look at an average square meter of land in Banana now is about 1.3, 1.4 million. That is average square meter of land. Then if you add the construction cost of $1,200 to it, so I'm sure you agree with me, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's basically for the super rich. While the Paramount Twin Tower is for the medium to upper level business executive or savvy investors that is willing to part with 135, 36 million naira for a 2-bedroom apartment and with probable return on investment, recovery return on investment within 5 to 7 years. While in the middle, I would say, is not really for the low end of the market from the price that we are selling now. I would say it's also for the middle class, so to say, at least for somebody that can afford to pay about 40 million for a 500 square meter of land, wouldn't classify such as low class, so to speak. So it's meant to cater for those individuals that know the value and the return, the possible return on investment if they invest in real estate, being one such that guarantee a lifetime investment and returns, so to say.
And in terms of the meadows?
Yeah, I've spoken about the meadows. That I won't say meadows is for every for the low segment of the market, but it's also for the medium to the high end of the market as well, because we are looking at 500 square meter as for individual dwelling. So, and the cost of 500 square meter, we are looking at about 40-30 million as cost. I don't think that could be for a low, a lower class, or so to say, or people on a low income. But as well, people on a low income can key in because of the low entry rate and the opportunity to also spread the purchase over a considerable period of time of up to 2 years.
Okay, fantastic. Many thanks for that. We have a question from Stanley Marcus, who's inquiring about the Ocean project and when it will be completed.
Yeah, like Akim alluded during his presentation, the first tower of the Oceana should be completed during the last quarter of next year. As we speak, the M&E, the block work, the screeding has been completed. We are just waiting for the facade to be delivered to the country and the facade contractor moved to site. While the second tower will commence hopefully by the 3rd quarter of this year or the last quarter of this year. But the first tower should be completed by the 4th quarter of next year.
Okay, fantastic. And we have a question from Destiny Assisi. What are the payment models? So do you have repayment plans across the three developments?
Yeah, we have flexible payment for all the 3 products. You can spread payment for PTT, for example, for about 36 months, which is the construction timeline. So as well as the L5 payment can also be spread for up to 36 months. For the middles, the maximum period for flexible payment is for 2 years.
Okay, fantastic. And we've also got an investment question here, which may be very interesting in terms of what we were previously discussing from a Babajide. Any general thoughts on population increase and general price inflation, and the effect that this will have on the return on the Nigerian property market and buying individual properties as an asset class. So, that's the question around population increase and general price inflation impacting on the Nigerian property market as an asset class. Any thoughts on that?
If I'm to go first, with population increase, we also naturally ask for demand for housing, and especially in the Nigerian economy where there is already housing shortage of about 50 million. So with the increase in population, there will be natural demand for more accommodation, more housing. Fine, the devaluation or the current inflation will affect the return on investment in the long run, because 1 million now will probably not be of the same value in 3 years or 4 years to come. But if you look at it in entirety and of the value chain of real estate and investment and all the rest of them, you are still better off investing in Nigeria, where your return could be up to 40–50%, and the current inflation rate, which is put at about 19-point-something%, is still covered. So I think that would be a simple answer to the question. I think Dapo can also chip in some few things.
So thank you very much. Just like Dimeji said, of course, when there's increase in population, automatically demand for more housing. That's what it means. Considering the fact that there's a deficit, we are practically struggling. The private sector has been a major player in respect to trying to ensure that we even meet up with the gap of the housing demand in real estate in Lagos or in Nigeria as a whole itself. So, and of course, the fact that there are challenges with mortgages and things like that. So over time, as that comes up, there's always a demand for real estate. And over time, for those that are able to have multiple of the units, will be the beneficiary of the returns that will be coming in over time. Thank you.
Fantastic. And Bakari, do you want to just take that one as well, that investment question?
Okay, I'll try to link my answer to Middles. I would say, as much as all these other products are ours, I would say the Middles helps you hedge against all of the risks.
Yeah.
In the economy, because it's land, it still has the propensity to multiply. You understand? And as we progress in construction and all, the value would go up. I can say vividly that in the next 2 to 3 years, people would have made close to 150%. Some people who invested during our pre-launch promo on the Middles, they've gained about 115% already.
Wow.
Because before we launched it, some people were able to key in. Some of our existing customers were able to key in at that time, and they were able to get it at a very, very, very good rate. And as we speak, the value they've got is about 100%, and the product is not up to 9 months in the market. So by the time we start construction on site and all, the value would have gone up. Now, linking it to the economic growth topic, for a project of about 79 hectares of land, you would need a handful of a big number of construction workers to work on that project. The community, our host community, will benefit from that, and contractors, subcontractors, consultants will be involved, and all of these people would earn from whatever revenue that is being generated on that project. So that thereby improving their economic spending power. Do you understand? So for me, how do I put this now? The opportunities that are abound on the Middles are just limitless if people can just take position right now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for those insights. We're running a little bit over time, coming up to 4:15. So I think I think everyone's very much got their money's worth. At this stage, I would like to very much thank the expert knowledge that we've had from Poulton Morgan in Mr. Aldepo, Mr. Ademeji, and Mr. Bakari. Thank you so much for your wonderful insights. I'd also like to thank the attendees for listening in and providing some wonderful questions. Just to conclude, I'm just sharing my screen once again. I would like to remind everybody that that we are hosting a physical event alongside Poulton Morgan. So this is Poulton Morgan's UK property show, where experts from the Poulton Morgan Group will be traveling to London and wanting to speak to prospective buyers. So I'm sure there are many attendees on this webinar who would like to find out a little bit more about the properties that Poulton Morgan are building. So please come along on the weekend of the 24th and 25th of September. You can hang out with us for the weekend, where we can talk all things property. This will be taking place at the Doubletree by Hilton London in Victoria. That's Two Bridge Place in London. So it's basically at Victoria Station. Please join us for this London event. We'll be talking about Nigeria's best investment opportunities alongside Poulton Morgan. And to reiterate, the event is free, but you do need to register ideally. So please go to eventbrite.com. We will be emailing everybody after this event a link to this site. So please sign up. But we've had some fantastic insights today, particularly in terms of addressing that core problem in terms of how the Nigerian real estate market can help drive growth. There are clearly opportunities in terms of market timing and investing around when markets are taking a little bit of a dip and when to get in. The general sentiment is that we are at a pre-election period. There's going to be a significant growth next year. Everybody hopes. I think that's general consensus within the market. Yes, inflation is an issue, but inflation is an issue across the space. We are expecting that to improve. And one of the themes that came through this particular webinar, particularly made by Mr. Olademeji, was that it's a buyer's market. So if you're dealing with major currency, you can take advantage of that. And we've clearly had further evidence, further discussions around how capital appreciation makes it a worthwhile investment, and the rental yield could potentially hedge against that inflation. So let me stop sharing my screen. Once again, panelists, attendees, I thank you all for your efforts this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing people over the weekend of the 24th and 25th of September. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Philip, for having us, and thank you, attendees, for staying by.
Not at all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. I'll sign off now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.